Welcome to Life in Mountain Maryland, a podcast dedicated to the positive things occurring in and around Western Maryland, also affectionately known as Mountain Maryland. This podcast is available on Spotify, iTunes, Google Podcasts, as well as on our Facebook page, Life in Mountain Maryland, and our YouTube channel, Allegheny Media. This production is recorded in the studios of Allegheny Media located in Cumberland, Maryland. Let's go ahead and get started with episode number 5. Well, we're here at episode number 5, and I'm excited that Chuck Park is here with me with Charis Winery and Distillery, officially now.
Yep.
It was Charis Winery for how long before you ventured into the spirit market?
We were Charis Winery for 7 years, and then we're finishing up our 8th year, starting our 9th year this year, and so for about the last year, we've been a distillery also.
So in 2020, you launched the distillery, and you're not stopping there. There's a lot of great things that are kind of coming up, but also you're known for the wines that you've had out for a number of years. As a matter of fact, several of your wines have won several awards. I think there was one in California. There was another one in Finger Lakes. And so talk about how it felt when you received notification that your wine had won, and what was the wine that actually took the prize?
Well, we did a wine. I actually named it for my grandson, Oliver. And so it's Oliver's Winter Rosé, and it's a winter rosé because it's a little more richness to it than your typical rosés would have. It was very dry. So we thought, you know what, this is very unique tasting. We're going to send this out to California's Grand Harvest Challenge since they sent us an invite to participate. And it went out there, and yeah, it felt really good to go out in California and with the big boys out there to the Grand Harvest Challenge and actually take Best in Show for our class out there. And we won double gold with that. And people that like a dry rosé really enjoy it.
So how did that sell here locally? I mean, does stuff fly off the shelves? Do you have? It was recently an award winner. So and you do batches of significant volume, correct?
Well, most everything that we do is small batch, as compared to other wineries. Our largest tank is 300 gallons, where you go to another typical Maryland winery, the tank will be 1,500 gallons.
Oh, wow.
So, you know, we only produced, last year we did about 7,000 bottles total for the year.
Okay.
In all of our wines combined. This year, however, while we struggled with a lot in the pandemic in 2020, we were able to purchase, because some wineries were closed and the grapes were available, we purchased over 34,000 pounds of grapes this past year. We bought grapes from 4 different Maryland vineyards, and we're excited because we're going to produce over 13,000 bottles of wine for 2020.
Wow,
vintage.
Nearly double your volume that you traditionally have been doing, which is great because many places, like you said, are closed. And you're doubling your volume, and you have the entire. I didn't realize you had the entire building, but there's several buildings that are located down at the Canal Place shops. But you fill an entire building of all of your stuff now.
Right.
So how unique is it, one, to be on the Canal Place grounds? And then I guess the second part of that question would be explain a little bit about your operation, like your setup with the tanks, because I don't think many people would realize that there are tanks inside of buildings fermenting wine.
Yeah, when people come down to Canal Place, they're often surprised that we actually do our production right there. In the main structure, we're in the center building, Building B. And in that main center, we have about 16 tanks, ranging from 160 gallons up to 300 gallon. About half the tanks are 300 gallon now. We're working to replace some of the smaller tanks with the 300 gallons. We would go larger, but we can't get them in the building. So that presents a little bit of a challenge. But we're having a ball there. 86% of our customers are from out of town. We have a lot of tourist people. We meet a lot of really interesting people down there because you get people riding on the trail, and we ship to 38 different states. So people will be coming along the trail from Texas and they will say, hey, they come in and they do a tasting, they get a glass, and they say, well, we'd like to buy some wine, but we're, can't really call it on the bike,
On a bike.
Avid bike trail riders, they are very conscious about every ounce of weight they carry. And so we let them know, hey, we can ship it, and if it's 4 bottles or more, we'll ship it free.
Oh, nice.
And so a lot of times they'll just order up together, and we'll ship it out for them on the date that they'll be home to get it then.
Oh, that's fantastic. So it's kind of just turnkey for them. They just pay for it, and it arrives when they arrive back home.
Yep, and we've met neat people from all over the country. In fact, the world. I've met people from Siberia, came and visited us and tasted the wine. Italy. It is a little intimidating when it was a gentleman, 2 gentlemen came in, and one was American and English, the other was Italian. And he spoke good English too, and so we were having this conversation. I knew that they knew more about wine than the average person out there. Come to find out as we were talking in our conversation that they were partners in an Italian winery. So here we were talking back and forth. So. But we ship wine to each other back and forth, each year.
Okay, just as an exchange.
Just and it's funny because he'll say, my wine's a little bit better, but I do like yours. Because we do an Italian grape that's grown in Maryland, Nebbiolo grape.
Okay.
And I'm really excited because I'm looking forward to this coming year. I'm hoping that we will be able to have enough production from the vines down at Black Bear Vineyards, which is located in Old Town.
Not just 20 minutes away.
Yeah, it's 14 miles away on Bear Hill Road. And this, for 2020, we're doing a Pinot Blanc from there. The grapes came from there, and it's so exciting because it's really local. I mean, that's about as local as you get if you're not growing it on premise.
Sure.
And so we're doing white wine this year, and then I'm hoping that in 2021 vintage that we can do a dolciata, which is a really nice Italian grape that they started growing there a few years ago.
Okay.
And I'm really anxious that I got to taste some of the grapes this past year. So we're hoping that we get enough production in 2021 here that we can make some wine with that.
Well, that'll be really fantastic. Where you mentioned Old Town, but do the grapes come? Are they more regional, or where do you get the grapes from?
We buy our grapes from 4 different Maryland vineyards. Birchtree Vineyard, that's down in Carroll County near Westminster, Maryland. We get some grapes there. Sugarloaf Mountain Vineyards. We get 1 or 2 grapes there. Our biggest supplier is Big Cork down below Boonesboro, Maryland. So it's about an hour and 20 minutes from here. And then Black Bear out on Bear Hill Road in Old Town.
Okay.
So it was real exciting when I had the opportunity to start getting some of their grapes.
I guess a lot of people, myself included, wouldn't have anticipated that regionally there would be such a vast number of vineyards. Really, they're vineyards, correct? Like
that's full vineyards.
Yes.
Yeah.
That they would be available for individuals like you and your company to be able to purchase and then make products off of that. But explain about the process. I'm intrigued. So. Well, who gets the grapes? Where do they store?
I get the grapes.
Okay.
The grapes, what we do is we make arrangements. We have the equipment now, the totes, the lugs they call them, and larger totes. So our red grapes, we take our totes down our trailer, and it can haul 2 tons, a little bit more than that, but comfortably. If I'm driving the truck, it's 2 tons. But we load it up with 2 tons at a time, and we bring it up, and we just get volunteers, and we do the crushing and everything right there at our local winery.
Wow.
So
now is this like standing into tubs, putting on some music and stomping around, or we're a bit more sophisticated now?
Lucille Ball tried that, and when they were filming in Italy, and the American palate just couldn't handle the idea of feet in their wine.
Okay.
So Italian wine sales in the U.S. fell, and it took 10 years for them to recover.
Oh my goodness! Just from the
So
perception
just
that somebody's feet
yep,
would be.
in 1958, when that episode of I Love Lucy aired, immediately it was just a significant drop in sales in the U.S. for Italian wines.
Well, now I'm curious. I'm gonna have to try to find the episode. I wonder if the wine industry didn't advocate for that episode just to kind of be removed from the networks, because 10% is a pretty big number.
Yeah, well, today it's today it's pretty fun just to go back in that, because
Sure.
most people don't think that. Though there are areas in the world that still stomp grapes. We do not.
Okay.
The grapes are too expensive to getting feed in it. So
Well, and probably the yield quality too, right? Like
Oh,
you
yeah.
need maximum yield out of this grape.
we actually sacrifice some yield in order to keep good quality,
Okay.
because we don't press the grapes real hard, because we don't want to, you crack the seeds and you start getting those sharp tannins from the seeds into that, adds a little bitterness to your wine.
Okay.
And we tend to do it more old world and free flow it,
Okay.
because anything left over now, it's not like we're throwing it out. It becomes part of the brandy. So that's why we started making brandy 5 years ago. We under our state license for a winery, we could make brandy, but we couldn't make any other spirits without being a full-blown distillery. So we made brandy. And so we took all the palmus, and that's the skins, the seeds, and the pulp, put them in a vat, fermented it, broke it down more, and then pressed it a second press. And that gave us the wash that was then fermented and with alcohol in it that goes into the still, and voila, it becomes brandy.
That's really fascinating. How did you're very passionate about this industry. As a matter of fact, soon this is going to be what you do full time.
Right.
But how did you get your start at this? What drove you to start making wine?
Well, a friend of mine, he said to me, because we both liked to drink wine, we enjoyed it, and he suggested that we start making wine. And so I thought, you got to be kidding me! This is like rocket science.
What, like the homebrew type
Yeah,
make wine?
yeah.
All right.
So we bought a kit, an equipment kit. So we bought the buckets and the carboys and all the tools and meters and stuff. And then we bought this, first thing we did, we bought a kit to make root beer. We said, anybody can make root beer. Let's make root beer first. So we made root beer. It turned out really well. And that's the only time I've ever made root beer, was that one time. Because the next we did wine, and it turned out decent. And then over the next several years, we just made more and more. And I found I was giving away a lot. So I started, my mama didn't raise a dummy, and I started looking at the numbers, and people would offer to buy it, and I'd say, no, can't do it. If I sell a wine, I'm not licensed, that's federal offense, and then I can't ever have a winery.
Yeah.
So then we decided to bootstrap it. So we rented a very small space down at Canal Place, and our first year we did about 500 bottles.
Okay.
And so we went in 8 years from 500 bottles a year to about 7,000 bottles a year. And this year we're going to almost double that.
Now, that's impressive because of COVID. What have you done to shift for your volume? Is it just? It's not just because other wineries were closing, or
No,
I mean,
no.
you've built this thing over the years where you have repeat customers, you have commercial clients, and
Right.
so
We are in more restaurants and liquor stores, wine shops now in the western half of Maryland than we've ever been.
Okay.
And that's one of the key. We partnered up with Western Maryland Distributing. That was a slow partnership that over time took place to get in place. Neither one of us were rushing, because they were primarily beer, and so they were working their way into wine, and we had a bad experience with another distributor, a much larger one, and just weren't ready to just jump back into it.
okay,
And so we spent 2 years talking with Western Maryland back and forth from time to time. And then Matt called me up one day and he says, hey, are you ready? We're ready to do this. Let's pull the trigger on this. And so we got together and ironed out an agreement, and voila, it's been almost a year now. So
Wow.
that was one of the key things that I attribute to 2020 being such a successful year is Western Maryland has really worked at getting our wine out on the shelves.
That's fantastic. And they handle everything for you. You get to do what you do best,
Yep.
which is, one, talking to people that come into the store location down at Canal Place, but also then just dreaming up new stuff.
Oh, yeah. And so now we are a fully licensed distillery. So we are producing several different moonshines and a coffee rum where we partnered with Base Camp Coffee. And they did a special blend for us of medium and dark roast.
Okay.
And so we make rum, and then we take that rum and we use Base Camp whole coffee beans, and we soak it for 30 days, and it comes out black.
Wow.
And people have just been loving that.
How much
And-
fun has Hayden had coming up with a blend for?
Oh, I don't know.
I mean, he geeks out over that stuff as
yeah,
much as you geek
he's
out
al-
over alcohol.
He's always smiling whenever we talk about it. So,
I can imagine.
Yeah, and then we hooked up with Greg at Corner Tavern. So Greg takes this and he's making up all kinds of different cocktails. So one of those, in fact, I need to talk to Greg because I need to get the recipe because we're doing on March 24th. We're going to do a featured cocktail for the Mountain Maryland site.
Okay.
They're doing some type of a press release thing for a special cocktail featuring one of our spirits and a cocktail recipe.
Oh,
from
that's
Greg.
nice. How have you found the collaboration amongst other local businesses to be in Western Maryland? I mean, I think we all try to work together very well. And I know, even for other wineries, you work well with other wineries.
Yeah, historically, this region has been very territorial. Business-wise, you have one business and you don't want to, no, we can't have another business here.
Chuck, I get it.
Competition. Yep. So one of the things that I decided right away, we were the very first winery, first craft beverage producer in Allegheny County. I remember I called the liquor board and I said, what do I have to do to get licensed as a winery? And they said, we have no clue. We've never had to do that. So I ended up getting contact with the state controller's office and they took care of everything for us then.
Wow.
But we, encouraged Toasted Goat, Donnie Carter, encouraged him, Donnie brought some home wine. He was a home winemaker just like I had started out. And he was bringing it in and he was asking me questions. How can I do it better? Different things. And I found him very teachable. And so, I advised him. And then I told him one day, I said, I think you ought to open a winery. I'd love to see, another winery. And I shared with him all my information. I didn't want him to have to go, I didn't expect him to buy from every single one of my vendors, but
Sure.
I wanted to do something for him to help him jumpstart so he didn't have to go recreate the wheel. And so, I had a ball doing that, and people thought I was nuts.
Well, they don't get, though, that like a rising tide, all boats float.
Absolutely.
And you're drawing people in to do things instead of a thing. And now they're coming back because there is a more wider range of selection. And I just remember being in there, and I remember Donnie coming in, and he ended up getting, I think it was corks from you. He had run out of corks for bottling, and here you are like tossing off 700 some corks or something, and that struck me, and that was probably 2 years ago, I guess, maybe.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that.
We lost a whole year for COVID, so it's probably 2 years.
So, but yeah, there's times it's like, oh, you need something, just come and get it. No, I've done the same thing. Donnie has some totes up there, and year before last, I didn't have enough space for hauling wine. I was having another winery press my grapes for me for the white grapes. Instead of hauling all that and pressing, they had the equipment to do what would have taken me 4 days to do it in 4 hours.
Oh, wow.
So I said, yeah, I just had to get totes. So I went up and talked to Donnie. I said, Donnie, I need to borrow some of your totes. No problem. He said,
Yeah.
Here you go. Come up and get them, help me load them, and down the road I went. So we have worked really well together. I appreciate them very much.
Yeah.
And then over here with Dig Deep, 1812, Locust Post, even though they're not winemakers, but 1812 and Locust Post both carry our wine there because we have the new law in Allegheny County to where a brewery can sell locally made wine.
Oh, is it that great?
On the premise. So
wow.
Both 1812 and Locust Post have some of the Toasted Goats wine and some of ours.
That's really fantastic. It's almost like this. I guess really the launch of craft beer started 7-8 years ago. Right? I think really significantly 7 or 8 years ago when craft beer really became a hot commodity. You are working with craft breweries now in helping to form like this trail thing, right? Like, is there like there's this collaboration thing going on, if I understood correctly?
Yeah, we are working together. What we did, it's called the Mountain Maryland Craft Beverage Trail. And it's all-encompassing of craft beverage in the alcohol side. So you got your beer, you got your spirits, you have your wine. And so all of the local Allegheny County producers are involved with this. And so people are able to go to the site. We're just getting this up and running. So it's Mountain Maryland Craft Beverage Tour. And you can go to there. You can see information for every craft beverage producer in Allegheny County and where they're located. You can see them pinned on the map, get directions to them. You can see their events and that. And there's pages where we've set up little mini pages and then links to their individual websites. So
that's fantastic.
This is just starting out. We've got a lot of little bugs to work out.
So look for it at some point here soon. But that's people love tours. I mean, going on an ice cream tour, the Hatfield Mccoy Trail Tour. It's like you just start somewhere and where you end up, you end up.
One of the things we're working on is a package with like Fairfield and with Gunter Hotel and a couple others so that people can come in on a Friday evening, spend Friday evening in town, and either here or in Frostburg. And then Saturday, they get up and go to breakfast. Then after breakfast, they go to their first stop. Depending on where they're at, it could be different. But let's say they're at Fairfield and they go stay there. They get up and go have breakfast at Mark's. And then they hit Dig Deep, noon. And they taste their brews. And then they may go to Locust Post and have, pizza and beer there for late afternoon, and then come back to the hotel in the evening, and then come over to Charis Winery, spend the night. The next day, go to 1812, and then up to, Frostburg to Route 40 and to Toasted Goat, and then back here. So, we're trying to give people where they can plan a weekend. And then we also want to include other craft beverage producers. So it's not just about alcohol. We have Base Camp Coffee.
Yeah.
Awesome coffee that's, Hayden produces there. And then we have our Western Maryland Lemonade.
Which is as equally as fantastic.
It is. I love it. I carry it at the winery. Because we do have people that, they'll come in and someone in their group may not want to be drinking. They may have a designated driver or whatever.
Sure.
Or a family may stop in and there's underage people. And, of course, they can't drink the alcohol, so we have something there for them.
Yeah.
In that. So, but then that also drives us to make slushies.
Well, and I should mention that, this contraption here, I'm going to blow in it so it actually stirs it up a bit. Because this puppy is 14%.
Yes.
This is a Pina Colada type slushie.
Yep, that is pineapple and coconut moonshine. And that's why when you mix it in with the water and so forth, it dilutes it down to about 14% alcohol, which is more than enough to do the job. So,
well, Chuck, you're the first person to ever bring me anything on Life in Mountain Maryland podcast.
Well, you're welcome.
This is really fantastic. He just showed up with things, and this is one of them. But we've had Katie and I have had your wine slushies this past year. Typically, it's a summer type thing.
Right.
What prompted you to fire the thing up?
Well, everybody was looking. I was watching on Facebook. People were just really being frustrated with Old Man Winter and making threats toward Murray. So
yeah, we don't need any more threats towards Western Maryland Murray.
No. So I just last week I just thought, you know what, the heck with this. Normally I wait until the end of April, 1st of May to fire up the slushy machine, and I thought I'm going to do something different. So I had this pineapple and coconut moonshine. I thought this is the best time as any to try it out, see how it turns out, because I like to experiment.
Yeah.
So
I enjoy you experimenting.
Well, so here we are in February, and I said, you know what, we're gonna do a slushy. We're gonna spit in the eye of Old Man Winter, and just say, you know what, the heck with it. 2 more weeks, Western Maryland Murray, and it'll be spring. So in the meantime, we've got Pina Colada Slushies.
They're on tap. When are you typically open at the winery?
We are now open 7 days a week.
Okay.
Mondays are noon till 5. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday is noon till 6. Friday is noon till 8. And Saturday is 11 a.m. till 8 p.m. And then Sunday is 2 to 6. And
Okay.
We're thinking about adjusting the hours on Sunday a little bit earlier.
Yeah. I mean, I guess
Yeah.
it really only makes sense to be open when people are there. So
Right.
you got to kind of figure out once people start actually going out to places again, and
Well, and that's
hopefully in the
why
very near
we
future.
opened on Mondays. We used to be closed Mondays, and a lot of businesses in downtown are closed Mondays. And we found a lot of people, like, they're still hanging around on Monday.
Yeah.
So we opened up, and Monday's actually our 3rd busiest day of the week.
Well, it's a rough, right? It's a rough start to the week. You got to go back to work. You gotta stop by the winery and have
Absolutely.
a slushy after a Monday.
The Monday sales are medicinal.
As much as Fridays are celebrational.
Exactly.
Right. So you have the slushies, but you also brought with you a bit of your moonshine, and one of them is the apple, but this is a chocolate cherry.
Yeah, this one is our chocolate cherry moonshine, and it's got rich cherry flavor in it, and then you get that nice chocolate that comes in on the finish.
Now, how do you drink these? This is like is this a shot type operation?
You kind of put it like this and lay it on your shoulder and turn it up.
Okay.
Yeah. No, what people do different things. Some people like to just pour it over ice and sip it.
Yeah.
Other people just add it to a Coke, chocolate cherry.
Oh, that's a
in
fantastic
Coke,
idea.
It's really delicious. Make a little cocktail with it. So there's different things you can do with there. The other one is our apple pie. And the apple pie, this one, most people that drink moonshine have had an apple pie.
Sure. I mean, I think that was like one of the first ones that started coming out when people were doing their
They haven't had this apple pie.
Okay. What makes that apple pie so special?
If I told you,
you'd have to kill me.
Well, no, but I'd have to sew your lips shut,
Okay.
No,
this is your grandmother's apple
is
pie recipe.
A recipe I worked on for a number of years, just playing with it. And my sister actually had more influence on this than anybody. And so it has some ingredients in it that only I know, my sister knows, and the federal government, because they approve the formula.
They have to approve it.
Exactly.
Right.
So it's just some spices that we put in it to kind of just create a little different feel to it and a little slightly different flavor, and it softens it up nice. And both of these are actually at sale at the liquor stores around Cumberland and at the Oak Barrel. In fact, the Oak Barrel is probably one of our top sales outlets.
Oh, wow.
We can't keep it on the shelf.
Katie and I love Oak Barrel. Literally every time we drive west or east rather to Frederick, where her parents live, we always stop at Oak Barrel because it's the best snack place to stop.
Oh, it is. I mean, their cinnamon rolls are to die for.
They are. It's also like the reason why I'm probably going to have diabetes in the next several years.
Yeah, well, that's why you need to get some apple pie there. This apple pie,
right?
Because
Drink
it balances that. See, alcohol balances the carbs.
Okay, it's good to know.
I don't
believe anyone's right. If somebody were to purchase these items, do you give them ideas on how to consume these, or is there anything online that like would suggest, hey, we recommend a chocolate cherry Coke or a...
We have not put anything like that. It's called time, and
Well, you mentioned April 1st, you're going to be full-time.
Yeah, April 1st, I take retirement from my current full-time job, and I will invest all my time at the winery. So.
Okay.
But we're also ramping up the distillery
Sure.
in full steam. We just got some new equipment in there that we're getting wired in and plumbed in now. So, I'm hoping to have the time that we can do, because we want to do that type of thing. We want to offer different cocktail recipes and so forth online and available in the tasting room.
Yeah.
Not just for our spirits, but for the wine, but also for the oils and vinegars that we have.
Because you do have, I mentioned when Donnie came up to get those corks, we were buying oils. We were buying infused oils, and then we were also, I think, getting some vinaigrettes. I think we got like a strawberry balsamic vinaigrette.
Yeah, well, they're not vinaigrettes.
I'm sorry.
They're balsamic vinegar. And,
balsamic vinegar.
Yeah, the vinaigrette's different, but I'm just splitting hairs here.
Well, no. Katie she'll watch this back later and say, no. Right.
So, but yeah, we import our extra virgin olive oils from Spain.
Wow.
And there's no place in the world that makes better olive oil than Spain. That's where it originated, as far as we can tell. The balsamics, I started making some balsamic, and then I really figured out quickly it took 12 years to be classified as a balsamic. And I'm a patient man, but I'm not that patient. So we imported it from Modena, Italy.
Okay.
And the company that we import is located in Bethlehem, PA. The wives of there's two gentlemen that are partners, and their wives, the one wife's from Spain, and her family is the ones that run the plant for the olive oils.
Okay.
And the other gentleman's wife is from Modena, Italy, and her family goes back multiple generations in making balsamic vinegar.
Okay.
Yeah, so they have very good quality control.
Well, and you can't really find any of those things around here, right? Like, you're not going to go to Martin's and just pick up these really high-end...
No, what you get at the supermarket is, I used to be just like, vinegar, oh God, that stuff is horrible, And then my wife said, no, you got to taste the real stuff, not what you get at the supermarket. So she bought what was best from a local market, and then she bought some of this other, and we did comparison side by side, and I was blown away, and that's when I became convinced, this is something we ought to probably have.
Yeah.
And so we bring it in. There are some other, you can find balsamic vinegars, olive oil shops that carry some good quality products.
Sure.
Around the region.
Okay.
Nothing else in Allegheny County.
Right. Immediate to, if you're listening in Cumberland or in Allegheny County, this is the place to go for these items.
Yep. And if you're a restaurant, we'll work with you on wholesale and larger bulk.
Well, that's really fantastic, because who doesn't? I mean, we loved it so much, and it's like you can go in there and you can fill it and you can taste the various different ones before you purchase it. It's kind of like, just a unique experience in itself, and hearing from you talk about the flavor profiles. And I think we were actually going to make some wood-fired pizza. My parents have an outdoor pizza oven, and we had stopped by to get some Tuscan herb olive oil to brush around the rim, which kind of brings me to the point of, like, a lot of changes are happening at Charis, and one of those changes is a artesian pizza oven.
We'll bring this one up there. How's that?
That looks beautiful. I see two pieces are missing, and so...
Yeah, we started just recently. We spent the first couple months of 6 weeks of this year getting our kitchen built, because we have a lot of people now. I don't know if it was because of COVID, but in the last year, more and more people are looking to hang out more and get wine by the glass, and they're always asking, do we have food? And
well, probably because they're a lightweight like me, Chuck. Quite frankly, I'm going to need something to eat if I have a glass of wine.
Well, it is a good thing. And so we I got the idea from Locust Post.
Okay.
Because Locust Post produces pizza at their brewery.
Okay.
And I was talking with Denise and Tony, and they were telling me about their experience in that. And I thought, well, we spent a couple months researching it and decided what we wanted to do. And so now we've started producing an artisan pizza. And yes, we use the Tuscan herb, but we do a little tweak on it. We add a little bit of garlic oil to it and a little bit of chipotle.
When I took some bites of this slice earlier, the chipotle, it is not overwhelming, but you can tell that there's a little something there, and it's really good.
And then so we brushed the pizza pie with that around the rim and then lightly across the rest of it. Then we take it and we add a sun-dried tomato pesto with pine nuts and basil. And then the red sauce goes on it, and we don't skimp on any of the components. And then we put a little Italian seasoning shake on there, and then we use 5 cheeses that we put on the thing because we want really a special flavor.
Sure.
And so then we do a cheese pizza with that. And then if we want to step it up to a pepperoni, then we put our pepperoni on top of the 5 cheese pizza. And then if we want to do meat lovers, then before we put the cheese on, we put a little extra sauce, and then we put crumbles of hamburger, crumbles of Italian sausage, and chopped bacon on the beast.
But not imitation bacon, the real thing.
This is the real bacon, crispy, chopped up, right on there. Beautiful. And then we put the cheese on it. Then we put pepperoni on it, and then just a light dusting of cheese on top of pepperoni, just to hold everything in place.
Now, I wish people could hear this, but when I took that bite, there was a significant crunch to it. And that's kind of, you're using a special oven to get that crunch, but yet just a hint of the doughiness. And
right.
I can't wait to rate this on the One Bite app. Are you familiar with Dave Portnoy with Barstool Sports?
I remember the name.
Okay.
I haven't seen the app.
Well, we're going to have to get the app. I use the app when I go to New York. I mean, I'm looking, for the stars. Really, I am looking for 9 and over. And you can't be disappointed by pizza in New York.
Right.
But it's a different style pizza.
Yep.
What I loved about this is the artesian is just because of the flavor profile. Mm-hmm. It is unique. And it's really delicious, and you can tell that the sauce is good. The cheese is, a blend of cheeses, and so I can't wait to see what the rating is locally on the One Bite app. So everyone watching at home, get the One Bite app, and then go to Charis and rate them for the One Bite app. Because people, when they travel, literally they pull up the One Bite app and choose to go where they find high scores.
We've just started making these available for folks. And so one thing I've told everybody that's got one so far, if there's something that you think would be an improvement, let me know.
Okay. I don't think you can improve, and I'm a pizza person.
Well, we never had, just like with our wines and our spirits, we never assume we've arrived.
Sure.
There's always room to take it to another level.
Yeah.
And that's just...
Well, you can't let complacency set in, right?
Right, absolutely.
And I think when you're passionate about something is when you're continuously striving to try new things and to reinvent yourself. It's when you become stagnant, maybe it's time to find something else different to do.
Yeah, well, I had a friend of mine say, we were talking about wine tasting, going to wineries and tasting wine. And I shared with them that I don't look for wines on their wine list that I like. I look for wines on the wine list that I probably don't either know about or maybe don't care so much about. And I try different things. What's different?
You're brave, Chuck.
And
stick with what I know is best.
No, you got to get out. You got to put yourself out there. What's the worst thing that's going to happen? You're going to take a sip and oh God, no! You're not going to go into cardiac arrest.
Sure,
okay?
True.
You're going to, if you need to, you can spit it out and rinse with some water and that. I'll give you a shot of moonshine to really flush it.
That'll take care of the whole thing. Yeah, it's a good point. You're right about trying different things, about getting out and expanding, kind of your palate, if you will. Last night, we saw each other at Dig Deep, and that's why we decided to do this episode today. And I had I don't even know the name of it. I just know that it's a blackberry sour. Cattywampus. And I mean, it was such a good sour beer. And I am not a hoppy person. I don't like the hop taste. But this was really a phenomenal beer. And so that's how we dreamed up of. I don't know if it was because I had the one beer that we dreamed up we were going to do this thing today, but I'm glad we did.
That was a method to my madness there, is to get you all fuzzy head. And
then I just agree, hey, you should come by the studio and we should record a podcast. I mean, we have the equipment here. Why would we not do it?
And you thought it was your idea, so hey. Well, I tell you what, folks, one of the things that I'm just absolutely unequivocally convinced of is that Allegheny County has some of the best craft beverage producers in the state of Maryland. And in fact, I'd even go say Northern Virginia, Pennsylvania, as a whole, craft beverage industry is just now burgeoning. It's new. It's in its infant stage. But we've got some very high quality brewmasters and so forth here. We're producing some award-winning wines and spirits and beers. And so you can find something that you will like somewhere in the county. And you can find something that you don't like somewhere in the county.
And the nice thing is you can pair it with a little bit of recreation. You're not in the big city. You kind of get out and you can meander around. It's beautiful scenery. It's beautiful to sit outside of Charis. And if I understand correctly, I think you guys are going to launch something in the spring where you're going to have a little bit more scheduled activities. Is that correct?
Yeah, and we are actually, a few years ago, we used to have here in Cumberland, I say we as a Cumberlandite citizen.
Cumberlandian,
yeah. Alleghenian.
Mountain Maryland.
Yeah, Mountain Maryland. But anyway, we used to have the music downtown, and where we had Friday after 5.
Okay.
And that went away a few years ago. Well, we've talked with Dig Deep, and so Rob at Dig Deep and I have been working on this for a year, and we weren't able to do it last spring because of COVID. But this year we're bringing back Friday after 5, but at Canal Place.
Oh, that's fantastic.
And that's something that, maybe we can get Rob in here the future time here as we get closer.
Sure.
And go into more detail about what that's going to be and everything that's going to be involved in that. So it's exciting.
If you like local music, or not even local music, but if you like live music, stay tuned. And where could they find that information out on? Well, you'll be posting that. Not only could we have Rob on the show, but where could they keep track of the things that are happening now?
They can go to the Mountain Maryland Craft Beverage tour site.
Okay.
The events are on there.
Okay.
Some of them, we're adding to it daily. And there are links there that will take you to each individual producer, and you'll see their events.
Okay.
Everything that we're doing is on there. Right now, we have music booked out from the first week of May all the way every Friday till September. End of September.
End of September.
Yep.
That's fantastic. If they want to follow you specifically or check out what you have going on, you're on Facebook, correct?
Yeah, Facebook Facebook.com/Charis Winery Inc. INC on the end of Charis Winery, and you can go to our page. You like our page, then we'll show up in your news feed with anytime we add an event and that, because we'll be adding all kinds of stuff as we go
and you're releasing new wines, and a lot of things are happening. So certainly a page that you want to check out on Facebook, and
absolutely,
yeah, and just search Charis Winery. How many other Charis wineries are there? There's none in our area.
We are it in the U.S.
You are it in the U.S. That's a good place to be.
Absolutely.
Chuck, thank you so much, not only for this delicious slushy that I'm going to finish here in a moment, but the pizza. This has really been a learning experience for me.
Thank you for having me. This has been awesome.
Yeah, this is really cool. So thanks again so much, and I look forward to stopping down there, not only for music, but maybe for the next variation of slushy.
You're welcome anytime.
Oh, great to see you.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.